an uncrackable code.
I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
In 1982, David Martin, a resident of Surrey, England, decided to clean out the chimney of his 17th century home before the holidays. It was an innocuous activity to most, but what Martin didn't realize was that a simple household chore would unlock a mystery spanning decades, tripping up some of the most senior and expert codebreakers the world has ever known. So how does a chimney lead to an uncrackable code? Through a lost World War II carrier pigeon. Let's get into it. So Martin is looking through his chimney and something catches his eye. He reaches in and in a later interview told the BBC that he began, quote, pulling it down. Then the pigeon bones began appearing one by one by one. Down came the leg with the red capsule on, with a message inside. Inside the capsule, attached to a random pigeon leg bone, Martin discovered a coded message. 7 rows of capitalized letters in clusters of 5 letters each, and the last row including some numbers. Then 2 separate rows altogether underneath this message, spelling out NURP 40TW194, and on the next line, NURP 37DK76. This information, and of course the red capsule, and being who he was at a certain point in history, all of it alerted Martin to the fact that he probably pulled a carrier pigeon out of his chimney. During World War I, pigeons were used extensively to carry messages to Britain from mainland Europe. Flying at speeds of up to 52 miles per hour, the birds could travel astonishingly long distances for being very tiny birds, up to 620 miles away. Now, if you want to learn more about the incredible history of military carrier pigeons, check out episode 202, Project Pigeon. The European Carrier Pigeon Initiative is endlessly fascinating. I highly recommend listening to that to help understand just how insane this story is. Link in the show notes. But of course, you're here now, and I digress. Martin, like most English people, knew NURP 40TW194 and 37DK76 were maybe identifiers of the pigeons. The first 2 numerals generally indicating the pigeon's year of birth. Likely, these 2 names of carrier pigeons together meant that both pigeons were carrying the same message, a duplicate message, just in case one had, gotten itself fatally stuck in a chimney. Also, the fact that the 2 birds had been dispatched with the same message, a message in a curious code, seemed to suggest that this message was a big deal, of maybe major importance. But when Martin turned the message over to authorities, they were completely stumped. Britain's top codebreakers at Government Communications Headquarters and at the prominent Pigeon Museum at Bletchley Park had no idea what the message said, so they enlisted the help of the public. And the public went at it. For years. To no success. Until luck struck this coded mystery in Ontario, Canada. More after the break. Before we get to this code's lucky break, sorry, I had to, let's talk about what might have happened to the bird itself. Over 250,000 pigeons were used during the war by all military services, and each bird was given an identity number. The message found on the pigeon in the chimney had 2 identification numbers, as we said, NURP 40TW194 and NURP 37OK76. It's unclear which one is the actual bird found in the chimney and which was a different bird. And again, the pigeon in the chimney, how they died, hard to say. The pigeon in the chimney may have been exhausted or overcome by fumes as it perched on the chimney and simply fell in. Another theory about what happened to the pigeon is that it was wounded by one of the German snipers who were stationed on the English Channel and all had orders to shoot any pigeons that they saw. The companion bird, according to experts, likely also didn't fare well. Neither bird's code numbers are included in any historical archive. This also may mean that they were top-secret carriers, adding more to the mystery of what they were doing, and of course, what was in the message. And then we have to talk about the message itself, the gnawing mystery of it all, and why it was so hard to crack. There's no way to know who sent the messages or what the code was, though it is consistent with the use of code books of the time. But it's likely that the book with the code was destroyed years before. Or was it? Well, we'll get there. The location of Mr. Martin's home is somewhat helpful in solving this mystery, too. Surrey is between the site of the Allied landing at Normandy beaches in 1944 and a famous code-breaking center north of London at Bletchley Park. It is also, Mr. Martin said in later interviews, near the site of a headquarters established by the British Field Marshal Bernard Law Montgomery. Quote, the bird may well have been flying back to Monty's HQ or Bletchley Park from Nazi-occupied Normandy during the invasion, said a man named Colin Hill, the curator of a pigeon exhibit at Bletchley Park, referring to Montgomery by his nickname. The pigeons, he said, routinely accompanied both ground forces and Royal Air Force bomber crews who were told to use the birds to report back their positions if they crash-landed in hostile terrain. With no solution in sight, a community of post-war pigeon lovers kept the mystery alive, campaigning officials to pay attention, because after all, the message itself, they said, was extremely unique. Most pigeons have short messages on them and not military code. That is, until 2012, when an amateur Canadian codebreaker and historian named Gord Young found a World War I code in his great-uncle's Royal Flying Corporal Observer's book. And he said he was able to work out the note in 17 minutes. Young believes the code was written by 27-year-old Sergeant William Stott, a Lancashire Fusilier, I think I'm saying that right, who had been dropped into Normandy with pigeons to report on German positions. Sergeant Stott was killed a few weeks later and is buried in a Normandy war cemetery. The 1944 note uses a simple World War I code to detail German troop positions in Normandy. Rather than make use of an involved coding system, Young says the note is largely comprised of acronyms. Quote, it's not complex, he added. As it currently stands, Young believes the code reads, quote, Artillery Observer at K Sector, Normandy. Requested Headquarters Supplement Report. Panzer Attack, Blitz. West Artillery Observer Trading Attack. LT knows extra guns are here. Determined where Jerry's headquarters front posts. Right battery headquarters right here. Found headquarters infantry right here. Final note confirming found Jerry's whereabouts. Go over field notes. Countermeasures against panzers not working. Jerry's right battery central headquarters here. Artillery Observer at K Sector Normandy. Mortar. Infantry attack panzers. Hit Jerry's right a reserve battery here. Already know electrical engineers headquarters. Troops, panzers, batteries, engineers here. Final note known to headquarters. Nothing crazy, right? Just kind of logistics, which again is different than what people thought it might be, that it might be something really big. But, according to Young, it was simple, logistical, sharing information. Information that was probably important, but again, not the revolutionary thing that I think people thought it might be. But again, not nothing. The general sent 2 pigeons to try to take this information home. So, when original Chimney founder David Martin heard the news, he called the discovery unbelievable. He was thrilled. Him and his wife were so delighted with the 70-year-old surprise that she said it was like Christmas. Of course, now the message attracted worldwide media attention, but Britain's top codebreakers at the government communications headquarters were still skeptical, convinced the message was impossible to decrypt. A press statement from them said, quote, We stand by our statement of 22 November 2012 that without access to the relevant codebooks and the details of any additional encryption used, the message will remain impossible to decrypt. Is it? Or did a lucky amateur best some British pros at their own pigeon code game? You be the judge.